In a time and place when you can work from anywhere.
Two ladies in their mid to late 27s have decided to.
And they're calling it workationing.
The ladies have finally made it to Montreal, Canada.
We're here.
Did the Colombian stamp in their passport do them dirty at the border?
Can they get by in a French-speaking city?
We'll figure it out.
Kari goes to a cannabis conference and Kelly goes to a queer dance.
Is this the craziest weekend of their lives or just another episode of the Workationing podcast? God, we're good at podcasting. Okay.
Good. Okay. We're so good. We do it all the time. Our
Yeah.
podcasting.
Sorry about that, guys. You had a little delay.
It turns out launching a new product for a major national brand, it takes some time.
You know, I've heard that before. I was skeptical. I thought it would be a walk in the park. It turns out it's a real pain in the dick.
Yeah. It's always a lot more work than you think it's going to be.
Yeah, it really is. So we apologize for the delay in getting this podcast out to you.
But the fact of the matter is, work comes first in workationing, and Kelly and I are not out here living off of like our trust funds, or did you save up a bunch of money so you could just quit your job and come on out here? You work for me, so I don't think that's the case.
No, there's a reason it's called workationing and not vacorking. Working comes first.
You know, we debated that.
I know. You know, vacorking just has like
it rolls off the tongue.
a little ring to it, you know?
I can't even
But we said no. Work comes first.
It does. Oh, and we've been working hard, but it's been worth it. And actually, that's why we ended up in Montreal in the first place and took a little detour through New Hampshire, because we had to be in New York City and we had to be in Boston to get some work done. So here we are in Montreal. We made it. Woo! Still alive.
Still alive. It's colder than I even thought it would be.
Yeah, I packed up some summer clothes expecting it to be, summery.
No, girl. It's still very much winter up here.
Yeah, I think I saw some snowflakes. Should be summer. Montreal. Get with the program. Get with the program. We drove across the border.
We did, which is different. We've been flying everywhere, so we drove this time. It was really funny because as we were doing it, we were just driving through. I hadn't been through the mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire, so it was actually pretty cool for me. But as we're driving through, all of a sudden, we're just on the other side, and it's like abruptly a different country. And we had been in the U.S. for a little bit, and all of a sudden, the signs are all different, and everything's different. And McDonald's is the nicest McDonald's you've ever seen.
Parlez-vous français?
I do not.
No. Hard no on that. And reading street signs was a problem. Got a ticket. Got my first international ticket.
Oh, international criminal over here.
I know. I don't know how to pay it. I can't read the ticket.
I don't think they're going to take that excuse. But you know what? I don't think they're going to be able to find you either.
So. No. And so this is our second week in Montreal. It's been cold the whole time.
It's been very, very cold.
Seattle, I hear you're rainy. I don't think you have much on Montreal, though.
You ain't got nothing on Montreal. Montreal's not just going to bring it up because it's so nice.
The first weekend, I had to immediately go from Montreal down to Boston so that I could go to the New England Cannabis Convention, which was pretty cool. I got to sit and listen to some panels about how PR is being done in the cannabis space and social media as well. Asked a couple questions about SEO. I think there's a real opportunity there.
I bet there is. It's a new market.
Well, and I as far as I can see, nobody's really slaying the SEO game in the cannabis industry.
That's so awesome because there's definitely a first mover advantage there. Gosh, if only.
Well, no.
If only we knew some people.
I know, if only we knew some people connected to the cannabis industry. Turns out we do. And I went to their convention, and there are so many cool cannabis-related products now. Do you know what a decarboxylator is?
I do not.
Well, if you did, you'd be getting 20% more mileage on your cannabis purchases. Good to know.
I like a good savings.
You know what I met? Who I met? I met this dude behind a booth who does security. high-tech security for these cannabis entrepreneurs. And the stories he had to tell me were quite insane. And sometimes these people need a lot of security. This guy's business provides that security, and I can see how that might be needed.
Yeah, I bet that I can see how that would be.
It's still a largely cash business. It's difficult for these cannabis companies to get bank accounts, which I think is another good case study for Bitcoin or digital currency. You know, just I find it all very interesting. So, but now I am back in Montreal. I got to cross the border 3 times in 1 week. Are you jealous?
Exciting. No.
Didn't give me any problems anytime.
That's awesome.
It was good.
It's good. It's good luck. Well, I stayed behind in Montreal, and that was definitely not something I would have done in, say, Medellin.
No, I wouldn't have left you.
No, she would not have left me, and I would not have stayed. But it's Montreal. It's pretty chill. So I found myself in a new city by myself for the weekend, which was pretty great. I know how to make friends.
I have seen this in action, yes.
So I just went and made some.
As you do.
As you do. And I ended up going with a lovely young gentleman to a queer dance.
Okay, so you had a straight date to a gay dance.
I did. And you know what? It was his suggestion.
Okay.
Which I
like
really
that.
appreciated. And he'd like been before and thought it was great.
Okay.
And the whole concept was that it's for adults and it's a queer dance, and you just go and they play only slow songs.
All right.
And everyone dances, and it's like encouraged. Like I danced with him for like the guy that I went with maybe like 10% of the dances, and the rest of it, every time it's just you and a stranger slow dancing.
Do you leave room for the Lord?
Mostly because these are like real strangers.
Okay, so there's a
lot of
body
the
contact.
There's a lot of the like, I'm gonna put my hands on your shoulders, you're gonna put your hands on my waist, and we're gonna just sort of like rock in a slow counterclockwise motion. 7th
grade Kari was very familiar with that move.
Yeah, and it's very nice and intimate. It's a little weird it's a little weird in a queer dance because you're not sure who's going for the shoulders and who's going for the waist, and so you kind of have to negotiate beforehand.
All right.
And but I had a really great time and met some really cool people. It was really lovely.
Montreal is really, really diverse.
It is. I think that's the thing I like most about it, actually.
You see a lot of mixed race couples walking down the street.
Yeah, and a lot of gay couples, it's just a little bit of everything all over the place, and everybody just seems very chill with it.
I've seen a lot of women in hijabs.
I have as well.
And so when we're talking diversity, there's just all kinds of diversity, and our neighborhood's kind of weird too. It's in the middle of being gentrified. Maybe like a third of the way through that process.
Yeah, it's not quite there. It's thinking about it. It's really climbing that hill.
So our Airbnb is in a very fancy string of townhouses, but right around the corner is a homeless shelter.
Right.
Just all kinds in this neighborhood. Just a real melding pot.
Yes.
This area of Montreal. You've also seen Jock, haven't you?
I have. That was really fun. He was busy the night of the queer dance. So that's what I was doing. But we got to hang out the next day. It was so awesome to see him again, and also so crazy because it's like I met him in Colombia. He told me he refers to his friend. He talks to his friends about me, and he refers to me as Colombia girl. Like I am someone's Colombia girl. Also, they all assume I'm Colombian.
Oh, I was going to say that you went to Columbia University.
No, all of those not right. No, I am someone's Colombia girl. We met in Colombia.
That's hilarious.
Very exotic of me. Just going around Colombia stealing hearts.
I love it. It's fun to start to have these like travel partners.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to see him again because it's sort of the beginning of this thing that you and I have started talking about, what we kind of want. Like I love this lifestyle so much, and I know you do too. And when we started, we were like, maybe we'll burn out after 3 months, but it'll been such an adventure. It'll still be a win. But I think both of us are now at this point where we are like, oh, let's get rid of our furniture,
I don't think I need that in my storage facility anymore. I don't think I need that storage facility at all anymore.
Right. And so, but the thing about living this way is that you're like, am I going to be alone? But it's really cool to realize that there are other really very mobile people out there
who are also traveling and are also trying to ward off their loneliness by also building kind of an intentional community of travelers.
Right.
And that's what we keep running into, going back to like the intentional living concept, I guess.
Yeah. And this is sort of the beginning for me of seeing how cool that can be. It's only been a couple months since I've seen him, but we ended up being really significant to each other in a weird way. Like we found each other at a cool moment where we both had something to offer each other. And now like reconnecting again and seeing where each of us has gone even just in these few months and how we've changed and how we've, all these projects we were working on and things that we were working through, seeing how it's progressed. I think it's so cool to kind of have those check-in points with people and to have memories of, oh yeah, that time we were in Medellin. Oh yeah, that time we were in Montreal,
Right.
But it's just I'm beginning to see that, and I can see how it would be possible. And I think that we're only just going to continue to make those friendships. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's really cool.
I am very interested in being even social media friends with some of the people that we've met on the road.
Right.
So, like Matthew Seth, what's he up to? Something cool all the time, it turns out.
Yeah, I think Homeboy's in Budapest right now.
There are so many people that we've met on the road who I'm seeing who are going to Cuba. We can't go to Cuba. They don't have good internet there.
No, which is a real bummer. I'd love to go.
I want to see those photos, though.
Yes, girl.
And we get to see them. So, Erica, shout out to you for bringing us the cool pics from Cuba, because we can't go there ourselves.
Yes.
And I think that we're going to be long-term friends with these people. And I have no doubt that as we continue to meet travelers on the road, they're going to, I guess, kind of integrate themselves into our travel rotation, where if you can travel with more than just a couple of people, it becomes so much cheaper.
Yes.
Looking at the Airbnb. So talking about cost savings, because Kelly and I are Gringas on a budget.
Yes, girl.
We like to keep our Airbnb costs down because that is usually the biggest chunk of the monthly budget. In fact, it always is the Airbnb
Right.
cost. And so Kelly and I are trying to keep it around $1,500 a month or less if we can. We were able to hit that budget price point in Medellin. We were able to hit that here in Montreal. The price we paid in Montreal for this Airbnb, which is a 2-bedroom, nobody's lived here yet. It's very cute. Was $2,300 for 6 weeks, which is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it really is, especially because Montreal, it's a little bit cheaper than the U.S., but it's not like going to Medellin where you're getting, your dollar just goes like 3 times as far.
It's like a 30% discount on the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
So it's not as great of a currency-based savings, but it's a nice place. It's pretty cheap. You couldn't get a place like this in New York City for $2,300 a month.
No, absolutely not. And then
for 6 weeks, excuse me.
Right, but then once you start splitting it with more people, it becomes even better.
You get a better place at a better price overall. So I think our next stop is going to be, we're talking Acapulco.
Yeah, and Santiago might come.
Yeah, I think that we might have a couple of visitors. And so at that point, you can get a bigger place. And the places you can get in Acapulco, some of them have 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, cheap as hell. What?
I know. Santiago implored me via text message this morning to check into those a little more closely.
Okay.
To see why maybe those prices might be so low.
The photos are going to look bomb, I think.
I think it's going to be fire on Instagram is what I told him.
Just very, very fire Instagram, I think.
And I told him if he is so concerned, then he best just book himself a ticket.
He shouldn't
and come make sure his gringas make it out alive.
It's true. He speaks great Spanish and we could use a fixer. And if he comes in, we get that. Plus, then we get a dude with us in Latin America, which I think we both have recognized is an advantageous move for us.
It is, because as much as we get the side eye for looking like some kind of kinky triad, it's better than the looks that we get when they just think we're lesbians.
I think that that's true. And also we might be cousins.
I mean, I'm hoping. I hope we look like some kind of weird family structure.
I think so.
Like,
we just a friend. One of us is a friend. I don't know exactly what this looks like, but I do know that we get better service at restaurants.
Yeah.
When there's a Santiago type at the table.
Yes.
It's true.
And he's delightful.
He is delightful. So anyway, if he comes, then we get to split it even further. Greater cost savings, better place. And talking about living intentionally, if you can create a network for yourself of other people who are mobile or mobile enough to throw in on a place with you for 2 weeks or even a month if you know the person really well. I don't know that I'd start off with a month, maybe try a week of travel together.
Yeah, maybe coffee first.
Doesn't always go well. I wouldn't recommend finding somebody on Craigslist.
No.
To live like this, but as you meet travelers on the road, you find that there is sort of like a traveler mindset.
Right. And you get to know people and you get to know yourself. I, at the beginning of this, I think would not have been very good at choosing the kind of person that I would do well in this situation with. Mm-hmm. And now that I have more of a sense of who I am as a traveler, it's easier for me to see who I would mesh well with in this situation. So I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned there, and you just figure it out as you go. But yeah, make small bets on that first, I think, before you shack up with somebody for a month, because it gets real.
Yeah,
Just
pump the brakes on that decision, maybe.
Right.
I wouldn't. That was kind of a tangent about creating a digital community of travelers that you can like meet up with.
But I hope it's something we're going to be talking about more, because I think that it's something that we both really want long term.
It's certainly more convenient, because the more people you have that you're traveling with, the more skill sets you get to take advantage of. It's, you know, if 2 heads are better than 1, then probably 4 are better than 2.
Right. And I also think that there's something in the accountability aspect of it, and also, you know, in terms of things we've been talking about with intentional living, is that I really want to seek out that those people are people who aren't just traveling, but are people who are traveling in an attempt to live a very intentional life. And I just find that when I surround myself with those people, that it really helps me in my own journey. And I love the idea of cultivating friendships that are based on that, and then checking in with each other periodically. And I just think that's cool. You know?
I think so too. I think these are friendships that are based in something stronger than, I don't know,
like proximity, which I
you're
feel
my neighbor is
right.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Like, yeah, like you have the cubicle next to me at work. Not to discount old friendships, because like I really value my old friendships so much, but there's so much. It's like you sat next to me 20 years ago, you know what I mean, in English class. And I love those people, and those people know you in a way that no one else ever can. However, as adult relationships are developed, I really want those. I'm realizing more and more that I want all of my friendships to be really centered around self-improvement and self-analysis and intentional living, and in holding each other accountable, and really like being a good friend for each other in the hard way and not just the easy way.
Right, because I think what we're realizing is that sometimes you need to have harsh conversations with friends.
Yes.
And a real friend is somebody that's going to have the tough conversation with you.
Yeah, because it's not easy to be on either side of that conversation. And I want people who have the guts to have it with me. And I want people who are able to receive it from me when I have it with them, because I want that accountability for myself. And I want to have friends who care about their own personal development, because it helps me keep my focus on mine.
Right. I think that's really well put. And I know that I understand what you're saying, because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's very important to me. And we are meeting people who, just in hearing their life stories and the struggles that they've been through and what they're trying to get out of their travel experience and the things that they like to do on the road, it's all very interesting and different and real to me.
Yeah. So what was so cool about seeing Jacque again was that we hadn't seen each other. Last time we saw each other was a few months ago in Medellin. We had coffee right before he had to take off for the airport. And it was just early morning, and it was over by Parquilleras, and it was just fucking gorgeous. And we went and had like just the best coffee ever. And we got into this really deep conversation. And when we reconnected, it ended up being that we both had really stuck on that conversation. We had both really gotten something out of it from each other that had been kind of transformational. And that was so cool. And then we had this whole moment, you know, of like saying goodbye at the taxi and like, we'll always have Medellin, and like, you know, like I really said that because I'm really.
Did you really say that?
I'm that disgusting.
You did not.
I did. Oh, and I cried. You know I did. You know I love to cry.
Oh my God. No, I get it. I've cried when friends have moved away, and, you know, cried at the end of relationships, sometimes even short ones. But God, I got a shame shiver on your behalf. We'll always have Medellin.
Listen, he liked it. It was cute.
All right.
But anyways, we said goodbye. But now we're reconnecting and seeing how that conversation was like evolved for both of us. It was cool. You know, like that's a friendship that I really value and I'm glad to have.
Can we talk about the depths though? Because didn't Jacque introduce you to the dep when I was away? And then you were like, oh girl, I've got the store for everything for us.
I did. So we were out looking for a bottle of wine, and Jacque was like, let's just go to the dep. And I'm like, the huh now? And it turns out there are these places like just literally 5 feet out here in Montreal. And it's dep is short for something.
Dep is short for dependor. Wait, dependor.
That was great, I think.
Dependor? Dependor. We call it the dep, all right?
Yeah, it's the dep. Okay, that's what even Jacque said, so that's what it's called. And anyway, so a dep has everything, kind of.
And yet nothing at all.
And yet not a thing. Not a single thing. It's kind of like a corner store / pharmacy, which if you know Kari or
like
I
bodega.
at all. Yeah, but that's like for you and I, anyone who knows us knows that, like, listen, we're not like girls who like to go to the grocery store. We shop at we stay shopping at pharmacies.
Well, if it's not at a pharmacy, you don't need it.
No, you don't, girl. Go home.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so we are in there and it's kind of like that, but just, well, first of all, there's a big variance, okay? I don't know what the franchise structure is of these places.
Listen, there's one downtown in Montreal called a Manhattan Dep, the Panure. Oh, I think I got it that time.
That was good. I was convinced.
All right. You got to like throaty it up a little bit.
You sold me on that one.
Okay. So there's a Manhattan Dep downtown, which is very, very fancy, well lit. It's like the classiest looking 7-Eleven you've ever laid eyes on. But then the one down by our Airbnb, not nearly as nice.
No, it's like about 15 years ago, somebody dropped this box that just had an assortment of like dental floss and like shoe liners. And it's still there. It's on the floor. If you bring it up to the cash register, they'll sell it to you for some money.
They will. Nothing is labeled. It almost looks post-apocalyptic.
It looks looted.
It does. It looks a little looted. it stays looking looted. That's their preferred stock method. Or stock system.
No one is taking inventory in this place. It makes me itch when I go in there. I'm just like, oh, somebody needs to make this nice.
Cases of drinks on the ground stacked up, but they're opened and some are missing.
Oh, you could just buy some. Listen, they've got a small produce section, which is literally like an upside down box top that's kind of near the door. And it's like there's like a couple potatoes and a banana and a cucumber in there. And you better believe your Gringas buy that shit and eat it.
The bananas were not bad. We ended up tapping out on the potatoes because those were just we got them home and they were moldy, but they washed them every now and then because they looked clean.
Did somebody like just dust that off a little? Made that nice.
We went there the one time and there were 3 pineapples lined up on the shelf and we were like, hot damn, fresh delivery.
Right? What journey did that pineapple take to end up at this depth?
What terrible life turns.
Yeah, like that's some past life shit.
Mistakes.
Past life karma.
So the Deps are a great place and we shop there all the time.
I love it. We literally are there twice a day and they hate us so much. It's great.
We get our eggs there. They've got eggs.
Oofs. So don't ask about us, our French.
So here's one thing that we've learned is that the sour cream situation internationally is sketchy at best.
I really don't understand that. Like, American sour cream is apparently just an anomaly, a thing unto itself.
It's the best.
It's delicious. I will slather some shit. You know, it's really helping with my diet that sour cream everywhere else is just trash.
The cottage cheese situation, basically, if you want dairy, you've got butter, and sometimes you've got bagged milk. Bags of milk, just plastic, floppy.
Which really makes it more
milk.
appetizing.
They put it in a plastic pitcher that you just leave kind of half open in the fridge, I think. So I saw that at Medellin, too. Oh, they keep it warm because it's been pasteurized? Because why not? You know, just get some warm milk in a bag.
Listen, milk is kind of sketchy in and of itself. And then you put it in a bag
and stock
on a shelf.
On a shelf.
And you're just like, would you like these bovine secretions? Because I've got a bag of them. You're going to love it. Squirt this in your coffee.
Pour it on your cereal. How about pour yourself a tall glass of it?
Just drink it.
You don't even need to refrigerate.
We got this out of a cow.
It came out at this temperature.
It's a literal body fluid.
Oh, body fluid in a bag. Too rich for us.
Too rich.
We don't drink the real milk anymore.
No.
The French, as we've said, has been a challenge.
Yes, luckily most people speak English.
They do.
Here, at least some. They will give you the side eye depending on what neighborhood you're in. I had one Tinderella that I went out with who took me to the very, very Frenchy part of town, and he's a francophone. Like, his English was very good, but like still very much a second language. And I was on the side of town where there's just no English, not anywhere, and they won't speak it to you. And don't try to speak it to them. They're not interested.
Well, there's a law in Montreal where all of the businesses' signs, if you're going to have French and English, the French has to be larger. The type font, the font size must be larger.
That'll show English.
No, and they will come in and fine you?
They will. Oh, what did we hear? Someone got fined because their bathroom had WC on the door for water closet, and they were like, no, sir.
No, except for somehow the origins of water closet are still like Frenchy enough that they were able to get away with it. That was the moral of the story.
Right.
But I guess they don't like jaywalking here either, I've been told. Quick to issue some jaywalking tickets. That's some Canadian crime.
I was going to say that's some Canadian ass shit. It's like I'm going to cut loose tonight and just jaywalk the fuck out of my neighborhood.
But you know it's kind of classy? When you see cracky looking people arguing up on balcony, and they're obviously in an argument, and they look really, really, really cracky, but they're yelling at each other in French, and you're like, nah, it's probably fine.
Yeah, it seems a lot less dramatic in French.
It does. There's that French couple that keeps breaking up outside of your window late at night.
They do. I love late night breakup theater. I have no idea what they're talking about. It's funny, though, how you can hear the relationship issues emerge even though you don't know the language. I'm just up there like, he's gaslighting you, girl. You got to get out.
Get out now. Walk away. It's not too late for you.
Get out, girl. Run. It's so bad. The other thing I love about Montreal is that when you are being cracky up on your balcony and screaming shirtless at your neighbor in French, when the cops show up, the black people don't scatter. You know what I mean?
They do not.
They stay around and talk to the police because, like, they're not afraid.
Yeah, I wonder what the rate of cop shootings in Canada are relative to the
probably
U.S.
fucking nothing.
Do they even have guns? When we crossed the border, actually, let's talk about that. When we crossed the border, not only were we not allowed to transport guns into Canada from the U.S., but they were also very concerned about whether or not we had pepper spray.
You know, that really tickled a deep red-blooded American bone that I did not even know that I had. I was very upset. I didn't have pepper spray, but I was offended. What really makes me angry is that then I started talking to people in Montreal. I was like, and you're not even allowed to have pepper spray? So like what? Someone attacks me and I'm supposed to what? Just lay down and take it?
Yeah, no, they remove your right to defend yourself at the border, apparently.
No, it's absurd. And so I was talking to people from Montreal about this, and I was all up in arms, but not actually because you can't have any. And and they were like, oh, but you can have bear spray. And I'm like, how does that make sense? Because there's all sorts of things that I can do and decisions that I can make and plans that I can make so that I never have to defend myself against a bear.
Right.
I can just remove bears from the equation, you know? That's something that never has to happen to me. But I have to interact with all these other assholes out here. They have things that I need. They've got my sushi and they've got all sorts of stuff. They've got groceries, you know? Girl, I have to talk to them sometimes. I've got to leave this house.
It's true.
Why aren't I allowed to defend myself against people that I can't get away from?
It's a question for Canada.
Canada.
Justin Trudeau.
Justin, give me a call. Got some questions.
Kelly's Gringa, top knot. Questions in the back. Hand raised.
Justin.
Justin's coming to town while we're here.
He is. He and Barack are going to have a little bromance get together.
It's a big anniversary for Canada. It's a 325.
Ooh.
Or is it 375?
They don't look a day over 215.
They do not. Oh, the Canadians here are very attractive and well dressed.
They really are. They're good looking people.
Just a fat, frumpy people in the U.S.
No, I didn't realize till I started traveling just how very fat and poorly dressed Americans are.
We just all look like we're going to Walmart.
All of us. We all just look like we're praying for death. It's because people in other countries, believe this or not, people in other countries wake up in the morning and they just put on pants with a button and a zipper.
No.
Every day they do this.
Not yoga pants.
No, and it doesn't matter if you're just going to the grocery store, girl.
Sweatpants.
No, you put on activewear if you are currently, in the next 20 minutes, going to a, actual, yoga class. You're going for a run. But then when you get back, you take that shit off and you take a shower and you put back on your real pants.
Sounds like a lot of work, but I think we're going to have to start doing it.
It's really obnoxious.
When in Rome. You know?
Right.
When in Rome, I guess you button up your mom jeans.
We didn't know how good we had it.
Did we, though?
I mean, listen, we didn't look good, but man, did we feel good.
It's comfortable, those yoga pants.
You know what? I felt good about myself because I was looking around and everyone else was looking a little schleppy too.
Yeah. No.
Not here.
Americans, I think we all need to
Just make it nice.
Yeah, tighten up our game a little bit.
Make it nice, America.
We don't really get judged for it as much here as we did in Medellin. We don't look as homony out here, I don't think.
No, but I think that if people had to guess which side of the gentrification coin we were on in this neighborhood, I don't think that that's a flattering assumption that they make.
No, I disagree. Really? I don't think so. Our yoga pants match. Not each other, but like our outfits are cute. Our
That's true.
Sometimes
my manicure matches my yoga pants now, and that really makes me feel that's like American formal wear is what that is.
Well, and we stay looking cute down at the track.
Yeah, ish.
Huddled under our umbrellas because it always freaking rains here.
Just always.
Got
to get those steps in though, Gringa.
We have been doing really well. I think that we're on track to drop some more LBs. Here in Montreal with her. Gringa's on a diet. If you haven't heard that episode, if you're interested in learning how much we are just loving it, this healthy lifestyle change.
Yeah, we've got an episode for you, just full of weight loss, inspiration, and positivity.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Because we just love eating salads and lean meats. I don't even think I like fruit anymore. You know, too many carbs.
You know, a banana is just a lot.
Very rich. Those bananas. Nature's cheesecake is what we call it.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
I have had a hell of a time driving here. I haven't killed us yet.
Yeah. It seemed like a real good idea to bring your car, but we actually have not been using it a ton.
No, because the weather's been shit. And if you can't take the top down, then like, what's the point, you know?
Right. And also the roads really are terrible. So Montreal is a very beautiful, picturesque city. It's an island. It's really cool. But the problem is that all of the roads are just garbage.
And my car is real low to the ground.
Yeah.
I was making a lot of these noises. Going over potholes. Slowly. Is it going to bottom?
Right? No, and then you Google map something and it's like, oh, girl, don't worry. It's like 3 kilometers. And I have no idea how far that is, but it doesn't sound far. Just 3 clicks down the road.
we call them clicks.
Just 3 clicks, girl. Don't worry, Gringa. 3 clicks. And but no, and then it's like, oh, and it's gonna take you 35 minutes to get there. And it's because you literally can't get there from here because every road is closed.
Oh, also, yeah, Google Maps will tell you to cross this bridge over here that's definitely shut down today.
So good luck to you.
Detour.
Right?
Detour around this pothole. Construction everywhere. Downtown, they have no problem just shutting downtown down.
Right. They're like, you didn't need to get here, right? It's just fine. It's just all the commercial and financial districts. You probably didn't need any of that.
No, if I were a business on Peel Street, I'd be pissed because I don't think that the construction people know the meaning of hurry up.
No. So, and actually what we've heard from locals here is that the issue seems to be corruption. So the government is always trying to create more jobs. And a great way to do that is through these sort of infrastructure projects. However, there's a lot of corruption there. And so a lot of these companies that are taking these contracts are on purpose putting down roads that are not made to last. And the winters up here, listen, if this is what late April looks like in Montreal, I do not want to see what their winters look like. But you know it's hell on these roads.
Can't be good.
No, and it just tears them up. And it's literally like you need a moon rover to get around town.
It's terrible. It's a terrible situation. And then you get stuck. We got stuck on an alley for what, like 45 minutes? Not moving at all. We posted that video on Twitter and on Facebook of us dancing in my car because Gringa dance party when you can't go anywhere for 45 minutes.
Right? And it was just because like some people needed to turn left and you just couldn't.
What if I had a court date? You know?
I know.
Like I could have planned to be there early and that 45-minute delay would have... Good thing you weren't having a baby. I would have had to deliver that on the side of the road.
I know that you would have, though, and that really warms my heart.
I would have called somebody else like, help me.
Help.
I would have held your hand.
You know what? You could have, too, because they have healthcare up here. So.
Oh, That's true, but I don't think that
Probably
you
not
could
for
have
me.
used it. I don't think
I'll
so.
pretend to be Canadian real hard while I'm giving birth. I don't think they check the receipts on that while you're actively crowning.
You could have married Jock real quick.
I don't know that he wants that. He does have 2 passports, though, so, you know.
Well, getting passports, second passports is something that we should really look into. That's part of Neil Strauss's Emergency. This book will save your life. Getting a second passport has all kinds of advantages. Turns out, not real easy to do. It's about as easy as, I think it might be easier, slightly easier than launching a new product.
Right?
But it's going to take you some time.
No, Jacque actually brought it up. He has a Canadian and a UK passport, and he's always wanted a US passport. And he was like, so, hey, 2-for-1 deal. Let's just get hitched. We'll have to live in the UK for a while and then the US. And I was like, well, I've got this whole workationing thing going on. So, hit me up in like 2 years or so. But like, not no. Like, I'll think about it.
So the roads are terrible here, but the food's pretty great.
It is. I've had some really good food here. I really like Boom Jay's, which is near our house.
Yes. So Boom Jay's is an authentic Jamaican joint just a couple blocks away from our Airbnb. And what's the name of our neighborhood?
We're in the Pointe St. Charles neighborhood.
Okay, so in the Pointe St. Charles neighborhood, there is this Jamaican place called Boom Jay's, which sells, I'm a fan of the Hot Pocket, guilty pleasure, don't judge me. I love a good Hot Pocket. I like fancy Hot Pockets even more, and these Jamaican beef patties are like fancy Hot Pockets.
Yes.
We have eaten some very, very, very good food here. I think my favorite was the $1.75 Hot Pocket-esque beef patty with just a very flaky crust.
Yeah, that thing is so good.
It's not on diet.
It isn't,
so
but that's why you split one with your Gringa.
You do, and still you might not eat all of it.
You don't eat the whole thing. You say, too rich.
Too rich and full. I just ate.
You just nibble at it real slowly and make it last. You go,
They have a shrimp curry that we don't eat with the rice. We just eat the shrimp curry.
Yeah.
They've got some sort of goat dish. We've eaten that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, sans rice. That rice is just, I'm on a rice-free diet
It's
right
just
now.
heavy.
It is.
It makes me feel heavy.
Really, it makes me bloated the next day.
It really gets in the way of all the yoga I like to do all the time.
So no rice, but Boom Jay's, check it out. Oh, we're the Terrible Infant.
Ooh, that place was great, but also it was mostly great because the view.
If you want a sick place to go to brunch, the Terrible Infant. I think it's L'Enfant Terrible.
Or
We're
whatever.
So respectful with our French.
I literally don't care. They can come for me.
With their non-pepper sprayed, with their just like raging fists.
Right. They don't even rage. I've heard these people. They're very polite. I'm sure that I could take them. But no, it's the French version of whatever the Terrible Infant is. And which might even mean child. I don't know.
It is. Yeah. It's the Terrible Child.
And
children are allowed there. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, right? I was like, yes, they are terrible. Let's all congregate and talk about it.
And I was like, why are there kids here? You bring your kid to the restaurant called the Terrible Infant?
But yeah, you can see from the top of the Terrible Infant just all of Montreal. It's at the top. It's like on the 40-something floor of this building. Mm-hmm. You can just see everywhere. It's pretty cool.
You know what I love about Montreal? Is it despite the fact that I do not have any pepper spray, knives, or guns on my person at any given time, I feel really safe here.
I do too. There's a little bit of crackiness sometimes in our neighborhood, but mostly I feel like it's pretty safe.
It's not aggressive toward us at all.
No, it's not an aggressive. It's just crackiness, but not aggression.
Listen, I think we've seen what Canada's version of, are they meth heads or are they heroin addicts?
I don't know. Maybe a little column A, a little column B,
I think we've seen.
I don't think they limit themselves.
No, I think you're true. Okay. I see it. So we've seen some of, I guess we've seen that the drug situation isn't just challenging, especially like the opiate drug situation. And I know in California, where I'm from, especially Northern California, methamphetamine is a really big problem. So there is a harm reduction conference here in Montreal that actually Matt Simon is probably going to come up for.
Oh, cool.
And I want to check it out because I'm interested in how different countries are dealing with hardcore drug issues that I've seen how they ravage American cities. I know that Manchester, New Hampshire has a terrible problem with opioid and heroin and now like the fentanyl.
Same in Ohio.
Situation.
It's brutal.
And it's not just a problem, apparently, that's limited to the U.S. It's not just a problem that you see across the border in Montreal. It's a worldwide epidemic, and what is being done to solve that problem, I'm very interested in it. There are all kinds of ways that people are working to reduce the amount of overall harm that's being done by drugs, whether that's reducing the number of overdoses or providing family support for people who have lost family members in overdose situations. What happens to those children? I think it kind of traces back to the drug war conversation that we've been having, over the last several months, certainly since Montreal. I think it's something that we're going to continue to see. If we go to Portugal, they've decriminalized all drugs out there. They've been decriminalized for years now.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see what that looks like.
It's a success story based on the statistics that I've seen. So it's kind of something that I guess I'm keeping an eye on. I'm excited to go check out this conference and seeing people struggle in various communities as we travel and how they struggle and what that struggle looks like has been very interesting to me.
Well, and seeing what a big part of the culture and the economy and just everything about all of these places that we've gone is so largely shaped by drugs. And it's crazy to see that in so many different countries around the world, and to really, like, I knew that there was a problem in my home state. The morgues back in my home state have started in Ohio have started in a lot of the major areas, have started renting refrigerated trailers to keep outside of the morgues because there literally aren't enough room for all the bodies. So I knew that this was something that was going on where I'm from, but what I am really shocked to see the extent to which this is really a global phenomena that touches every part of a society.
Exactly, and not just poor people too. So
right.
I have known a couple of people who have overdosed and died.
Me too.
And they weren't who I was expecting.
No, it's very often exactly not who you were expecting. I just had a very young cousin overdose, like a great kid. He was the first kid I babysat when I was young. And he was really, I forget exactly how old he was, 22. But it just happened. He was really young and a good kid and from a good family. You know what I mean? Like not their bad families, but you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like just not the kid that you expect this to happen to.
Right. It doesn't happen in that type of family, except for it does now.
It does. And it happens fast. It happens really fast when it happens. And it's just seeing the devastation of that is just horrifying.
Well, and I think it's difficult to get into rehab facilities in the U.S. Often they're over. I've heard multiple people talk about how the rehab facilities are overbooked. And especially if you don't have a lot of money, if you're not paying out of pocket to go to a very fancy rehab facility, getting in can be difficult. And then if you can't get into rehab at the time that you're ready to go, what does that look like?
Right.
How likely are you to stay sober?
Because that window of willingness is
right.
not very big. Like if you've ever dealt with an addict.
I think other countries are doing the rehab thing a lot better than the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I'm going to learn about that at the harm reduction conference.
Well, I'm excited to hear all about it.
Your birthday's coming up. I'm excited to hear all about that. I'm excited to tell you about your surprises.
I'm so excited. I love my birthday. I think it's so cute that you are excited about it. It means a lot to me. That's a very nice friend. Thank you.
Listen, I have some tricks up my sleeve, and I think you're going to dig them.
Well, I'm very excited because I've already requested karaoke and strippers.
You can do that here in Montreal. There are lots of karaoke places. They love karaoke here.
They do, and so do we.
We do love karaoke. Kelly slays karaoke. I just come with some novelty.
Oh no, girl, you've got some real game, and we really, really love to just aggressively karaoke at people.
We don't look at the words. We just make eye contact, make it kind of awkward for them.
Everybody else is there to have fun with their friends, and we're there to prove a point. Rub it in your face. That's right. You're seeing it. We have the most fun at karaoke, so I'm excited to go check that out.
Lots of strip clubs here.
Lots of strip
clubs.
There
are lots of... this is the place to have a bachelor party, apparently. How many bachelor parties have we run into just on the street?
Yeah, no, bachelor parties. I had no idea Montreal was a hot spot for that. It's like the Vegas of the North.
What's...
I don't know if they'd appreciate that title.
It is. It's exactly like the Vegas of the North. Turns out there aren't as many like cool rides, and the restaurants are very good. There are some celebrity restaurants. You've got casinos here. You have multiple casinos. There's a poker casino where it's not exactly in town, but all they have is poker there.
Yeah.
They've got a real casino with slot machines and craps tables and that kind of thing. And so many strip clubs. And the drinking age here is 18. So I think that that's what brings all the young kids to the yard.
Yes.
I'm sure Montreal is thrilled to play host to a bunch of drunk 18-year-olds from America.
Yes, that's really just the best that America has to offer. We send our very best up here to just do their very best.
I'm sure the Airbnb hosts and hotel managers are just thrilled when they get a pack of 18-year-old birthday Americans.
They sure do.
So that's not going to be us, but, we're going to have a good time.
All right, well, do you think we did it?
I think we probably did it.
I think that was it. You know what? I think that's all they're getting. This has been another episode of the Workationing podcast. If you like what you heard here, make sure to like, rate, subscribe, and leave us a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or wherever else on the internet you're hearing this.
You can also go to workationing.com. That's workationing.com. In a time and place when you can work from anywhere. That still wasn't right.
No.
Like I felt it halfway through, but I couldn't stop. I'd already jumped,
Relationships like that.
Okay.